Some of the most interesting representatives of the microworld are various types of single-celled organisms, which include, for example, the protozoans and the vast majority of algae. Although they are very small, due to the often huge numbers, the role of these microorganisms in nature can be very significant. A good example of such organisms are diatoms. Diatoms are one of the most beautiful algae. Some of them can slowly move on the surface of various underwater objects, some can be attached to the aquatic substrates as Ganthanema individuals do it. Other diatoms, such as for example Fragillaria, form colonies thanks to which they increase the total surface area and float more easily in water. Single-celled diatoms, due to the enormous abundance, generate 20 to 50% of the Earth's oxygen during the year. They occur in both freshwater and seas and oceans. They are a very important component of the food chain. Their cells are enclosed in a shell saturated with silica, which when magnified reveals its beautiful ornamented structure. The way diatoms reproduce is very interesting. The shell surrounding the cytoplasm consists of two overlapping parts, just like the lid and bottom of a microscopic box. During the process of reproduction, the cell cytoplasm divides into two parts, and the lid and bottom of the shell separate with the part of the cytoplasm. Then each of parts always build a bottom. Other interesting and extremely beautiful algae worth finding and observing under a microscope are Desmids. Desmid cells come in many different shapes and sizes. Most are single-cell forms such as Cladocerans, Microsterias or Natrium. But there are also those whose cells connect into chain-like colonies such as Desmidium swartzi. Desmids live in freshwater environments, but they strongly prefer peat bogs, swamps and other nutrient-poor wetlands. During field trips, to collect water samples for viewing under a microscope, we can, with a bit of luck, catch a beautiful representative of green algae, Volvox. Volvox is an exceptionally interesting and beautiful freshwater green alga. The cells of this organism don't live individually, but form a very specific large spherical colony up to 2 or 3 mm in size. Depending on the species, a colony consists of several hundred to several dozen thousand cells. The cells are divided into two groups. The first one creates an outer single layer of cells equipped with flagella and the so-called eye spots. Thanks to their coordinated movement, Volvox can rotate simultaneously in a specific direction, for example towards the light. Inside the colony, there are other cells that can form daughter spherical colonies. After this short review of some algae, it's time to get acquainted with some representatives of Protozoa. Perhaps the simplest protozoas are Amoebas. Amoebas don't have a cell wall, but are like a lump of protoplasm with a variable shape. They move by crawling on the ground thanks to cytoplasmic protrusions called pseudopodia appearing in various parts of the body. Amoebas feed on bacteria and other single-celled organisms or detritus. They surround a prey or a particle of detritus with their body and then ingest it by phagocytosis. Some types of amoebas are not naked, but live in self-produced shells made of various substances containing calcium, silicon or chitin. One of the representatives of this group of amoebas is Archella. Completely different protozoans are ciliates. The vast majority of ciliates actively move in the water. Some of them are surprisingly fast-moving, but there are also some that can attach to the substrate if necessary and they wait for the prey. There are also some, for example Sectarians, which are attached to the substrate and almost don't move at all, catching their victims with special paralyzing tentacles. Interestingly, Sectarians are also classified as ciliates, although they don't have cilia at all. A very interesting ciliate is the ciliate of the genus Paramecium, which is not almost transparent like most protozoa, but intensely green. This is Paramecium bursaria. It owes its color to the presence of microscopic green algae inside the body, with which it lives in symbiosis. Algae provided with nutrients produced in the process of photosynthesis, while ciliates provide them with protection and the ability to move. But microworlds are not only single-celled organisms. There are also a lot of tiny multicellular organisms, such as, for example, rotifers, copepods, nematodes, flatworms, Cladocerans, or Hydras. They all are so small that the microscope is also necessary to take a good look at them. One of the most common representatives of this group of organisms are Cladocerans. Cladocerans, due to their usually large numbers, play an important role in the food chain of aquatic environments. They constitute a very important component of animal plankton. They are fed by other larger invertebrates, for example hydras and larvae of many insects, as well as many fish. Cladocera themselves feed by filtering algae, bacteria and detritus particles from the water around them. By feeding on algae, they are an important factor in regulating their numbers in the aquatic environment. For most of their lives, Cladocerans reproduce parthenogenetically, producing eggs without their insemination by males. Another example of a small multicellular organism is Hydra. Hydra is one of the few freshwater representatives of cnidarians, the vast majority of which inhabit seas and oceans. Hydra has a unique ability to regenerate lost body parts, hence its Latin name Hydra, referring to a mythological monster whose severed heads quickly grew back again. Hydra has one of the simplest structure among tissue animals. It is a predatory organism that spends its life attached to the substrate. It hunts its prey using flexible long arms, equipped with special stinging cells. When the prey gets close enough, the Hydra shoots its stinging cells. After that, when the prey is paralyzed, Hydra directs it into its mouth and swallows it whole. Hydra feed on small crustaceans, annelids and insect larvae.